Hey, I'm Mandy. Welcome to the podcast. Now let's get right into talking business, marketing, and words of wisdom. Here, I am Mandy, the real estate broker, and today I have Lester Norwood here with Legacy Builders Insurance and Financial Services.
Yay, you got that. First try.
Thanks. Lester's been in the industry of entrepreneurship and insurance and financial services for a long time, and I am going to interview him today about his entrepreneurial journey. So will you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Okay, I am who I am, Lester Norwood with Legacy Builders Insurance and Financial Services. Beyond that, I am a husband, father, son, older brother. It's Thanksgiving time, so it's like all family related.
Yeah.
But I'm also an entrepreneur, and I've been doing insurance since 2011, but I've owned my own agency since 2013. So off and on. And I guess we'll kind of talk about some of my ups and downs and peaks and valleys in this thing.
Yes. This thing called entrepreneurship.
So,
what brought you into entrepreneurship? That was a pretty quick from getting started in insurance to starting your own gig.
Yeah. So I got my MBA from the University of Memphis. I'm originally from Memphis. We're doing this live from Newport News, Virginia. But I got my MBA from the University of Memphis in 2010 when I got married. So I got married, moved to Virginia, got my MBA, like bang, 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 all at the same time. And I knew that I wanted to basically kind of counsel people about their finances. I really wanted to have a lot of like retirement conversations with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, because for us, we're the first generation where retirement is kind of something that we have to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents, they went to go work for a company, worked there for 30 years, and then they got to retire.
Right.
Now we have to think about retirement. We have to plan on retirement, that sort of thing. Start putting money away at 18 and So I wanted to have those conversations. And eventually that led me to kind of realize that the easiest way to have those conversations is to go in through the garage door. You have to have homeowners insurance. You have to have car insurance. You need to have renters insurance. You as a landlord and property manager know that. So you need to have a conversation with someone like me, more so than thinking about retirement sometimes isn't something that you're really thinking about. So I can kind of back into those conversations that people need to have about retirement and financial planning and life insurance and all the other great stuff that's not so fun and not so, demanding.
Yeah. At the
Instantly. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So that's what got me started.
Nice.
And I've pretty much loved it ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best piece of advice that you have for someone who is getting started in their entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, best piece of advice. A couple things. One, begin with the end in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're getting in because a lot of people, I say everybody's got an entrepreneur built within them, right? So you've got some type of skill set that you can monetize to really do it. It could be, hey, I really love houses, so I'm going to show real estate. And then that becomes like, oh, I really want to be a full-time real estate person and work for myself. Or maybe you can knit or whatever the case may be. Everybody's got some talent that they want to monetize. Even if they're working like a traditional job, they've got something outside of that job where they're like, yeah, I really like to make juice. So I'm going to become a juicer in the addition to, working a 9-to-5 job at a bank. Everybody's got a talent. Everybody's got something that they want to pretty much monetize. But like, do they have a plan for, okay, well, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to, when I make $30,000 a year juicing or selling whatever product, that's going to be enough to like allow me to live. So I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do that. They might have a plan for the first 3 steps, but a lot of times people don't have a plan for, hey, well, this is what my life is going to look like in 10 years. Or when is it going to be time for me to sell the business? Or, what does, the next 20 years of juicing look like, or making widgets or whatever it is that you're doing?
Yeah.
What does that look like? So before you get started, this is what 1 year should look like. This is what 1 through 5 should look like. This is what 5 through 20 should look like. And if you can get to the point where you're planning the next 10 to 20 years of doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're in a good spot and you're ready to take that leap.
That's awesome. And your exit strategy too.
Mm-hmm.
So many times entrepreneurs would just get wrapped up in all of it, and
Right.
it is everything.
It's go mode.
Yeah.
And then so Legacy Builders Insurance and Financial Services. We're an Allstate brand. In 2015, I was fortunate enough to get knocked on the door. Allstate came and said, "Hey, would you like to be what we call a field sales leader?" And I was like, "No, I love running my own agency." But then they're like, "Hey, we have this salary, and you could still technically kind of have your agency, sell it to a family member, they could run it, and then you could be out doing the field sales leader stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good." So from 2015 to 2019, I worked as a field sales leader with Allstate. And my job was to basically recruit new agents, but also help existing agencies grow and flourish and that sort of thing.
Awesome.
And I can tell you the three things that I kept giving people. Agencies would fail, and this is true for all small businesses. They fail for three reasons. One, being undercapitalized. They have to sell because they're not making enough money. Two, not having enough systems. Systems and processes will keep you from going from a good business to a great business. It's systems and processes.
Yeah.
And three, it's having the right people. It's the staffing, but having the right people in the right seat at the right time.
Amen.
And a lot of times entrepreneurs don't think about those three things. They're like, "Hey, I'm really good at making this product." But they don't think about, okay, well, what happens if I need to duplicate myself in making this product so that I can focus on marketing and those other things? Or who answers the phone can be really, really important for small businesses, and people don't really think about that when they're doing it. They're so wrapped up in their talent to the point where they forget about the actual business.
Yeah. What are you working on next?
Well, I'll be knocking on your door pretty soon for venturing into real estate and, finding, rental properties to put people in. That's probably the next goal, but really I want to make sure that Legacy Builders is the number one agency here in Hampton Roads and beyond. Like we have some things that we have to conquer as far as insurance is concerned. There are a bunch of conversations that we need to have. There's still more people that we need to help. So between
so many changes happening,
right, between growing the insurance arm of my business and then expanding that into like the real estate arm, those are going to be my next two ventures that I conquer.
Very cool. And my last question is, do you have a book recommendation or a podcast or something that you think that every entrepreneur needs to read? This one does.
Every entrepreneur needs to read. Okay, they need to read a couple books.
Okay.
Number one, The 1 Minute Manager. And
that's a short, easy read.
That's a super small, easy read. And it's just because if you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to have different personality types working for you, there are going to be different situations that you're going to have to handle differently. And so reading that just kind of gives you kind of insight on this is how Manny likes to be spoken to, or this is how Lester needs to be talked to in order for you to be an effective communicator. Right. Number two, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's a good book on why you're doing what you're doing. Great companies focus on, and I'm not even gonna. Great companies focus on the why. Great companies absolutely focus on the why. I'm not gonna get into what he's talking about because I want you to read the book. But if you can start with yes, you make great widgets or juice, or you sell insurance, or you sell real estate. But why do you sell real estate? Why do you make great widgets? And that's what's going to separate you from pretty much everyone else.
What sets
you apart. And if you know what sets you apart on the front end, that's something that you can market to. That's something that you can capitalize on. A home improvement person is great, but if they're a home improvement person that specializes in, beautifying kitchens and bathrooms, and they do that because they had a mom who was in a wheelchair and that makes them different than just a home improvement guy that does everything. Right. If they know their why, then they can absolutely kind of tap into that, and that's important.
Awesome. Did you have one more book that you're thinking of?
No.
Those are the two?
Those were the two.
Well, great. Thank you, Lester, for coming out today. We're at the Gather in Newport News, Virginia, checking out using their podcast studio for
Yeah,
the
I
first
love
time
this
today.
room.
Yeah.
How did you find this room?
So we are AMW Real Estate has a branch office in Virginia Beach,
Okay.
and we rent a gather space there. The room is about this size. And in that membership that I pay monthly at that location, I have access to all of the gather locations and their podcast studios.
Oh, wow.
So I can virtually walk into any gather location and work in the co-working space 24/7. I have 24/7 access, and I'm able to book a conference room or book this space I get for free. I get a certain amount of credits in my account every month to put toward using the different conference rooms, because there's actually like Virginia Beach has a ton of conference rooms, and even you can have even bigger events and maybe even BNI meetings and different things too.
So can your agents use this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Since I'm a member here at this time, they charge $25 a month for an addition for anyone to add onto my account to be able to use any of the gather locations.
Okay, so that's separating. That's separating you from like,
It's a little bit of a, we have our like brick and mortar. Well, it's our log cabin, so it's no brick, no mortar. But and then we have, this co-working space, which is just something that's really cool.
That's cool. That's really something, not something that all real estate companies are doing. So this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is a good value add for your agents. That's awesome.
Thank you.
No problems.
All right. We'll see you later.
See you later. Bye, guys.